on, we would like to introduce you all to the next panel. This panel's topic is going to be Selling Sport, the New Paradigm. As sports content increasingly localizes, explore strategies for effectively marketing it to attract advertisers. This discussion will address how to leverage local sports and the opportunities along with it and adopt sales approaches to meet the evolving demands of advertisers in this new landscape. To discuss on this, we have our industry experts who will be coming and sharing their insights along with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Vinit, Karnik, Managing Director of Content, Entertainment and Sports, GroupM India. Very warm welcome to you. There he comes. Everybody, let's welcome him. Inviting our next panel member, Subhayu Roy, Director Sales, CricViz India. Very warm welcome to you. Inviting our next panel member, Prabhat, Naik, Senior Partner, Client Leadership, Dentsu X India. And welcoming Amit, Sethiya, Lead Category Marketing, B2C Polycab. A very warm welcome to you. The moderator for this session is Session Chair Anil and Wanvari, Founder, Chairman and Editor-in-Chief, IndianTelevision.com Group. A very warm welcome to you all. A very interesting topic coming up, selling sport. Ladies and gentlemen, over to you.
It's paradigm,
yes.
Not paradigm. Correcting you. I will do it in public. I know my team's going to hate me for it, but I will do it in public. All right, I want everyone standing up. This is a sports session. You'll have just had lunch. Please stand up, everyone. What is your anyone show me your favorite exercise? What's your favorite exercise? What that we used to do in school? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Karo sab log yaar, utho, jago. Okay, that's a good start. Let's get going. We are talking about selling sport. This was me selling sport. I want a favor from the console. Can you all play the Tennis Premier League promo for me? Hello, console. Yes. Play the Tennis Premier. Then we'll start the conversation. Yeah, 45 seconds is fine for the people who missed it. Because I'm excited about the Tennis Premier League. And I want the audience to get excited about tennis. In India, cricket has been the sole sport in recent, and cricket has been the responsibility of this man next to me. He's been selling cricket forever. He's built the sport for the channels. Recently, they've started building PKL. They've started building ISL, but we need to build a lot more sport. So, actually, all of these panelists have been building cricket.
If you thought Season 5 of the Tennis Premier League was electrifying, this is just the beginning. Breathtaking volleys, jaw-dropping serves, where every point matters. Season 6 of the Tennis Premier League will be back.
Aaja मैदान में.
How many of you love playing tennis or love watching tennis in the audience? Raise your hands. Wow, it's about 20% of the audience. How many of you love cricket? Raise your hands. Well, it's about 40%. There's a reason to sponsor the Tennis Premier League for all these brands. So let's get on with the question. Now let me begin by saying, you heard me by saying that cricket has been the most widely accepted sport. Kabaddi has been accepted in recent times. Soccer has been accepted in recent times. We're building those sports. Has there been a change in the way selling of sport has happened? I'll begin with Vinit, yeah. Is there a change? Is there a new paradigm, or are we just talking off our hats?
Yeah, of course there has been a change in selling, right? Because, see, today cricket obviously is the most popular sport and you have maximum audience queued onto the sport. So that's for sure. But if you look at when ISL started or when PKL started, or today you have Kho-Kho, you have volleyball, and pickleball is coming up. All these sports have sustained themselves for almost 8 or more years.
Pickleball more recently.
Pickleball, I don't think has had any season yet.
Yes.
Okay, the first season is going to happen sometime this year, end of this year, or maybe early next year. But the very fact that you have got so many people playing, which very clearly shows that there is a lot of viewer interest and audience interest. And wherever there is an audience interest, you have advertisers going in, right? So I think it has directly proportionate to the level of interest you have in people actually playing it on ground and people watching it on streaming platforms or on television sets. And I haven't seen a sport in this country which has not been monetized, and which very clearly means that things have changed, and advertising as a community has been embracing the pop culture of sport beyond entertainment today. And that's the very, very encouraging sign. I've spent almost close to about 18 years looking at this landscape, and I think the landscape has only grown. So from a 1,500 or 2,000 crore market size for sports sponsorship, today we have crossed the 15,000 crore mark in less than 2 decades, and that's itself very, very encouraging, isn't it?
Yeah, but in terms of the way the sport is being sold by broadcasters, by platforms, by associations, by federation, has that changed? I mean, would you like to take it up?
Yeah, to an extent it has changed. So earlier it was traditionally the television first approach, but slowly with the digital penetration increasing, a lot of things has shifted to digital. Now in today's generation, if you see, most of the inventories or most of the field inventories are happening on digital first, and that's the paradigm shift which has happened, and this is the shift which has been there for last 3 to 5 years trend. But TV is still there as a medium, but digital, of course, as a, I should not say that it has taken over, but at least at par, neck to neck with the television. So that's the shift which we have seen in the recent trend. That is because also the availability, the me time, there is no appointment viewing now which is happening. Television was more of appointment. I can't carry the stuff along with me. Digital, it's there 25/7, always accessible. On the go, it is available. It's me type and my type of a device. And hence, the reach and penetration has taken over, or the equivalent or little higher than the television or the traditional medium. Yeah.
So, you actually do, you handle Amphi, and you handle a few other brands which really put a lot of money behind cricket. So you have separate teams coming and selling to you from the digital platform and from the broadcaster.
Yeah. So there is no integrated approach by the publisher itself. So TV sells differently, digital sells differently, and to an extent, before I comment, they comment against each other, and they desell each other. So that's the thing. But we know what is to be bought. We know the brand objective. We know ultimately the KPIs which we need to drive, and we accordingly take and put the weightage across each medium. So some of the brand we go with one medium. Some of the brands which we bank on both the mediums, especially the larger brand where the task is to go deeper penetration and all. We take a balanced approach of digital plus TV put together, and it all depends on what we need to do basis the objectives and the KPIs given to us in the task.
Okay. You joined Polycab recently, so I'm going to put very tough questions to you, so that you have to really dig deep into your mind and your introduction to the company. When you all started advertising on sport, what approach was made to you by the broadcaster? Which you probably, I hope you do know what approach was made to you by the broadcaster that made you buy into it.
So I would say that cricket was everybody's first love, and I think we also started our experience of getting into sports marketing, by taking obviously the very easy bet, which is cricket. And and when we started the association, it was predominantly riding high on the inventory side of the entire proposition. How much inventory you are going to buy, with your broadcasting partner. So I think that was the very simple proposition, and then obviously you used to have your in-stadia visibility coming in. Your distributors were getting the opportunity to engage, with the players, etc. So I think with that we started, and later on we also graduated to experiment, I would say, with new formats of PKL, and right now we are, doing association with even ISL as well right now as we speak. So I think today, the idea is no more about inventory buying. It has like really gone to another level of as to how can we leverage the data. Because now these properties are almost more than 8, 9, 10 years old, and there is some depository of data that we have. And the way the organizer and the broadcasting partners are using this data to actually convince the brand is really amazing. In fact, I won't give the free plugin right now. A couple of months back, when I was in Pune, there was a session by the organizer and the broadcasters both together. They decided to actually go and, look at the opportunities which are in tier 2 cities of the country. So they were actually talking to the audiences. Now, what kind of audience? One is your advertising fraternity, and second was the brands. They were actually telling you the possibility that yes, with limited budgets also, you can associate with the platform, right? Because we have this notion that, for, say, example, XYZ sports, you need to have deep pockets, but no more is the case. So actually, I think these are some of the initiatives which are actually empowering all the stakeholders today. I don't know if this was the answer.
No, perfect answer. I mean, you've moved on. If I'm right, we moved on from inventory to other associations. It could be ground associations. It could be plugins. It could be all of that, right? Yep. So coming back again to another question I had in my mind. Sports rights are going berserk. Especially cricket has gone mad. There are some of the rights. I think Formula One doesn't find too many takers, but that's a sport which has some following. So let's look at the rights which are going northwards. How are these going to be monetized by the ecosystem so that they can benefit from, for instance, in your case, it will be your brands. In your case, it will be your brand. In your case, it's going to be your brands. I'm going to come to you, Subhayu. I'm going to come to you. So how are they going to be monetized in this how is the ecosystem going to monetize when rights are going so crazy?
Okay, so it's a very, very common and a very popular belief that sports rights, predominantly cricket in this case, right, is over the top and quite expensive. But what one needs to understand is, if I have to jog your memory, almost about 15 odd years back, okay, Sony as a platform, when they acquired the rights of the Indian Premier League, it was very new to our country, and they paid approximately about 1,000 odd crores a season. And we all said that, I mean, that's serious money, and how will they recover? They did recover, right? It was a 10-year cycle. Then came the...
You said they did recover. They made a profit.
Of course. I mean, the first 10 years. Then came the Disney Star era, when they did a consolidated bid of 5 years, if I remember it, at about 16,300 odd crores. That time everyone said that this is astronomical, from 1,000 crores per year to say about 5,000 crores per year. That's a huge jump. Star did fantastically well in terms of, not only in terms of numbers, but also in terms of garnering audiences onto the platform. Hotstar as a platform was built on the back of the Indian Premier League. I don't think there will be any debate in this room that the home for sport or home for cricket was Star plus Hotstar at that point in time. So one should not look at acquisition of media rights of sports only on the back of profitability. It is profitability plus. It's also about garnering audiences. And today, audience is where the content is. And better the content, more the audience. And therefore, your monetization not only happens from the point of view of one particular acquisition, but towards the portfolio and bouquet of content that you have on your platform.
Okay. Anyone else wants to take this up? How is the ecosystem going to monetize and ensure that we get sports at the right price and we are able to entertain our audiences? I mean, Amphi, have your spends gone up over the years?
Yeah, we have increased our spends for sure, but that is also directly proportionate to the inventory cost which has gone up. So I connected to the old FMCG days where we say, "Jo dikhta hai, wo bikta hai." So it's exactly the same in India. Whatever is getting priced is what is getting viewed and what is getting that amount of share of voice in the marketplace. So that's where like BCCI or an ICCI driven property gets higher weightage than maybe a PKL, ISL or any other, for example, Pro Hockey League. So hockey as a format, it's an Indian game. We should have been watched it. We should have followed it. But what had happened is that 5 years back, it launched as a league. It died on its own, and then there is no talk of town in the marketplace. Now again, from last 2 Olympics, we are thinking of seriously about hockey as a tournament. But eventually, the viewership, the eyeball to that format is not there. If the viewership is not there, the people are not putting it that much of time, energy, and money behind, and that's what the brand and advertiser are also not putting that emphasis on that medium. So I think it is all directly proportionate or connected to each other. Moment we have a substitute to cricket or that game which
That was
comes
my
in.
last question. You're
Yeah.
answering my last question now.
Is it so?
Yeah. Because alternative sports, I was talking about how is the ecosystem going to monetize this? Like brands like you, like if costs have gone up by 30% this year for the IPL, because if you look at what Bob Iger said during the Disney investor meeting, he said that we're losing money because of sports rights in India. So therefore, the recovery is not happening. Will they, and then apart from that, Z and Star have gone to arbitration and all that because Star wants to recover money that it had been committed to it by Z. So that means there's a mismatch somewhere in the rights as well as the ability to monetize them.
So actually the demand and supply algorithm here, the equilibrium point is not matching to that extent, because what is happening is that the supply side is little tight on this equation. So what is happening is that is inflating the price. So moment the inflated price at whatever cost the publishers are buying, that gets percolated to the brands like us, and we have to buy it. So point is that there are some brands who can't imagine a campaign without such high impact visible tournament and all, like a sport fantasy game, a financial product, where because cricket or sports is more male skewed to that extent. So for a brand with what we handle, whether it's an insurance, mutual fund or a e-commerce and all, we want to address and reach out to that audience. And where will we find that audience? Because they have stopped consuming television to that extent. On an OTT platform, they are into the wall garden environment. So the only place then I get to reach out to them is on the sports, because
So you're willing to pay higher prices every year?
I have no option. I have no option. Where do I find? For example, if I need to reach out to you, where do I reach out to you? You have stopped watching television. On OTT or Netflix and Amazon, I can't reach out to you because you are in a paywall garden. The only place I am there, I can reach out to is the cricket, because you will be certainly watching cricket. For example, the last T20 World Cup. Anyone and everyone.
72-2 today against Bangladesh. Bangladesh is at 72-2. Last when I recorded the score.
Sorry, sir.
Last when I recorded the score was 72-2. India won the toss and put Bangladesh to bat.
Bilateral.
I'm talking about today's match.
Yeah, bilateral series definitely has been watched by few of them. But imagine a tournament like T20 World Cup, which India won. Any and everyone in India has watched it.
Okay, I
So
get it.
where do I reach? Where do I build my reach? I am not able to build my reach if I'm not taking that tournament. I'm ready to pay that premium, because ultimately I have to reach to anyone and everyone if I'm going out across mass audience.
Sure. So let me go to Subhayu now. How do you make sure that I watch the sport that I'm watching even more? You're the gentleman who brings in all the data about sports, about sportsmen, about their careers, which pops up, which the commentators then discuss. So what role do you play in terms of stickiness?
Okay, just for setting context, CricViz is a cricket data organization. We collect data from events and at a level of 50 to 60 data points per delivery, kind of shot, what exactly happened, kind of connection between bat and ball and stuff like that. Imagine you're watching a match where RCB is playing in the second innings. They are batting, Virat Kohli is on crease. Somewhere around the 13th over of a T20 match, where most people have changed channels, switched off, they'll come back in the last 5 overs. And the broadcaster is losing audience. Now at this stage, the value of advertiser or the visibility, the reach, everything is supposed to go down. But I have an analyst sitting inside the PCR who then tells the commentator that RCB has never lost a match while Virat Kohli is still at the crease. This is the result of a mathematical analysis that says, take all of RCB's matches, take their batting in the second innings, take matches where it's a 0 or 1 case, winning or losing, and find out who were the batsmen at crease, right? And the correlation was found, and this data point was given to the commentator. There would be a set of RCB fans who will then believe that, yes, we can go on to win the match, and therefore not switch channels, right? If I can control the itch to switch, if I can keep a little more people on the platform for a little while longer, that's one problem statement that we have solved for. The second is, can I create new vectors of monetization? You're talking about inflated prices or increasing prices of sports rights. At the end of the day, there has to be a business case. Any price is somebody's willingness to pay. And people are willing to pay that price because they feel there's a business case stacked up that I will find enough money from advertisers who will spend on this. Now that advertisement is essentially down to a team sitting down and slicing and dicing this. Can I sell my sixes? Can I sell my fours? Can I sell my wickets? Can I sell my aggressive shots? Can I sell luck of the batsman? Can I sell health? Right? There are parameters that can be quantified, and our data helps you quantify that. So you've essentially created newer IPs using our data, which can then go on to broadcast and therefore add to the advertiser revenue.
And have you seen that increasingly coming from broadcasters or from brands or from agencies, this demand for this kind of data analysis, or is it coming from the editorial side of sports?
Honestly, the genesis of the idea could be anywhere. Somebody thinks of a smart idea in a room and then 4 other people will have to latch on to that idea. But we have frequently seen foreign broadcasters, especially Sky and Fox Australia, who have repeatedly wanted to go deeper into data science to tell a story, right? We have metrics like XR and XW, expected runs, expected wickets. Now, the average man on the street does not talk about cricket in terms of expected runs, expected wickets. But Fox Sports will have its own cricket lab where they would actually talk about XR, XW over a sustained period of time so that you've seen it over a season. Next season, when you're starting to watch, you sort of expect to talk about XR and XW. That expectation building, that investment they're doing right now.
We heard a lot from him on the use of data. Would that be interesting to you, Amit? And using data to build your brand on it?
Honestly, yes. Because I think today everybody wants to get the best out of their investments, and I think if there is a data point, it becomes far more easy for me to believe in his proposition. That's fundamentally the reason I'm saying that yes, I would go ahead and say, okay, fine, present the data to me. And as I said, I have personally experienced this, data dashboard, coming to me more from the PKL and ISL side of it right now. As far as cricket is concerned, I think the mania is still much bigger than the data part of it right now. So I won't say that as far as cricket is concerned, data is the only thing that we'll go for. There's a lot of gut feel. There's a lot of loyalty that is also there, amongst the viewers. So for non-cricket items, I think we definitely dive deep into the data points and try to figure out the best fitment that a brand like mine sort of can go ahead with. That's one part of it. And why data? Because I think it's not about that, one-time opportunity. I think we are trying to explore the possibility of extending the association and hence establishing the fact that, we are here for long-time benefit. That's the reason.
Yeah, so PKL, you said. Have you done the deal already, or with the Star Sports team, or is it under discussion on data points?
Both. Because,
Okay.
even the broadcaster will come with their data points.
But have you all done the deal for the upcoming PKL?
No. So this was during my Cisca days, when we were very constantly involved with PKL property. And as I said today, this is the first season of the association with ISL of Polycab.
Okay.
Yeah.
With ISL, are you doing something along those lines?
Yeah, so we are actually the associate partners with Kerala Blaster Football Club. And, and as a part of the marketing strategy, which is, giving a lot of importance to the localization, we have decided to go ahead with the Kerala Blasters team and leverage that association going ahead for another 6 to 7 months of time.
Okay, great. I won't ask you more. The rest of it could be proprietary. I'll go back to Vinit now. So in terms of, you're working with a slew of brands who I as a broadcaster come to you and approach, and tell you that listen, please, I have so much of inventory, divide it between your brands, or get me sponsors, get me an associate, get me a title, get me a powered by, or whatever else. So what are the demands of the brands growing higher now? Or are they like earlier?
You mean to say, are brands asking for more sports?
No, not more sports, more from the same sport, whether it's ISL, PKL, or whether it's Wimbledon, or whether it's...
Okay, so I'll answer this a little differently. So you leave cricket aside from the equation because cricket pretty much delivers across country, pan-India. There is no market in this country who does not watch cricket. But what is happening very interestingly to the emerging sports, the way I call it, like for example football, or you take the example of kabaddi. These are sports who are working in pockets. So for example, if you look at Goa, Kerala, Northeast as a market, I think football...
Kolkata too?
Kolkata, I mean Northeast and North and East. It delivers brilliantly, okay? So today, geographical alignment to delivering a sport also is a very, very important strategy, okay? Not everything, because we are a large country. Every 150 kilometers, we have a change in dialect, change in lifestyles, yeah? And so change in the patterns of consumption of content. And sports obviously is not too far. And that's the change that is coming. So with the digital feeds and with, CTV coming in and adoption of CTV also increasing day in, day out, I think your ability to focus on markets dominating a sport in a particular region or a state is coming out very, very strongly. And that's where most of this, like volleyball. Volleyball is a classic example which delivers in pockets, and it has its own way of delivering it back to the sport and to the audience. So I think there are various different cuts on data and audience that possibly we look at before advising our clients on investments in sports, whether it's on ground sponsorship or whether it is on air or on streaming inventory. I think it depends upon multiple such data points.
Yeah. So as far as Amphi is concerned, I'm going to come back to you. You said digital is becoming important, social is becoming important. So how does it work out in terms of the broadcaster? Because the broadcasters bought the rights in certain case. They've got both television, they've also got digital. Or sometimes it's split between two. How does that work out?
So this is on content you're saying?
On ensuring that your messaging that you want to, your communications gets across?
Broadcasters provides me the platform, right? So I can just place the inventory. But smartly what we do is that we make connected content, as in more contextual, moment marketing. And what we do is that we started taking cricket celebrities. So if it's a PKL, then the PKL players. So I remember 5 years back when we had 5 or 6 years back when we had associated with PKL, we were one of the first brand who had taken PKL players, made a PKL communication and played it in PKL. Because we were very clear that if you are wanting to get into PKL, I can't take a Virat Kohli and Dhoni and speak to them in their language. So those were not so popular players and all, but that risk we took it and it worked wonders. It gave us a good amount of reach, engagement, and it had become a talk of town that point in time. So what we need to do is that while the broadcaster is giving a platform, it is that how innovative you are putting your content, how innovatively you are marketing your content or showcasing it, and then the placement part also works. So whether it's you are placing your spots throughout the tournament, or maybe the first inning or alternate inning, or you take a contextual key elements like a fall of wicket, super 4, super 6, because if you are excited about the brand and if you are having an euphoric communication, then rather than that I would want to go after a super 4, super 6, because the platform is there, like I said, but I need to choose my placement basis the communication which I'm talking about. So for example, for a mutual fund brand, in one of the series, what we did was that we took the sponsorship of, a slow runner, because mutual fund is all about objective driven for a long run and all. So whosoever had done in that match a 50, 100 in a decent balls. I am not talking about faster or the slower, but we have announced that as a mutual fund player of the match, taking the objective driven, the people who had worked for that, build that inning in that match. So that was more contextual and more relevant to that like I said again, the platform was given to us, but we took what we want, basis the brand genesis and basis the equation what we wanted out of the match.
Sure. Now I'll come back to Subhayu. So, are the Hindi and English platforms asking about more for data, or is it across regional languages as well? Where is the data being used more? In India?
Yeah, so in India, we have been privileged to work inside the Star ecosystem. The Hindi feed actually uses more data than the English feed. The English feed, obviously, the numbers are lower, so gets a bit of a stepmotherly treatment from the broadcaster as well. But here's the fun part, is how the data can change language to language. SRH versus RCB. The data on the Telugu feed will glorify SRH and say, expect absolute mayhem from Heinrich Klaassen and Travis Head. Whereas the RCB, the Kannada feed, will talk about how Virat Kohli being on the crease and Faf du Plessis playing that day will change the game for them. The context setting has changed. But if I may take a step back to, if I am getting this question right and how regionalization or how personalization can help, I think the true paradigm change in selling of sports has been exactly that, right? As kids, when we watched cricket, there was this SD feed with this very yellow text at the bottom giving you the score, and that was that. You've progressively put the person out of the seat and put him in the center of the pitch. During this last World Cup, there was an ICC immersive app where you could literally face the ball while Jasprit Bumrah was bowling it at you, right?
Very scary thought.
Well, people like that. But
would you like to face Jasprit Bumrah on the field?
No, absolutely not. But in an app, why not? But I think that's where all of these changes become very, very important. If brands can be part of that journey, if I look at the brand's presence in a cricket match right now, and with all due respect to brands and agencies, it's like if cricket is my best friend, brand is the person standing next to my best friend, right? But if the brand can become a part of this conversation, where it also gives me a narrative about the sport, where it becomes either my advisor or my friend or even my bouncing board when I'm talking about cricket, that I think will be the real use of cricket to sort of create value for brands.
Yeah. Coming back to regionalization, you're the guru of sports marketing. Everyone, do we all agree? Let's put our hands up if we agree. We all agree. So now you've got to step out and talk about regionalization. Yeah. That means you said geographies. Now let's talk about languages. He talked about how data is being used differently by different languages. So talk about that, a bit about regionalization. And how does it help in the selling of sport to brands?
See, today with the digital ecosystem, you can actually geo-target consumers, right? So, for example, if something in football is working in Palakkad as a region in Kerala, you can actually geo-target depending upon your market in that particular region.
Also the language.
Also the language, yeah. Suppose something is like for example, Northeast is a great example. I mean, the Guwahati or your Siliguri, these regions, I mean, they are very, very big on football, right? I mean, today, I think from an advertiser perspective or from a digital point of view, you can actually geo-target that. Why so much? I mean, today, wait for some more time. I mean, it could be as less 2 years. And today, you will have a smallest advertiser been able to advertise on the biggest content platform today in the country. Because, I'm just giving you an example. Say a sweet shop in Kolhapur, okay, wants to advertise only to that catchment area of, say, 5 kilometers or 10 kilometers. Today, digital streaming allows you to do that. Yeah, and this is unlocking great amount of value. And I'm linking this back to your previous question: are we selling differently? This is what I mean by selling differently. And we always said, right, on television today, if an IPL, if a T20 match has approximately about 2,700 seconds, on digital, that inventory, I can't even put a number to it. The moment you start geo-targeting it, there is no number to it. I mean, there is literally infinite inventory available for you to sell, depending upon your alignment on your core targeting from a geography standpoint. So these are some of the disruptions which are underway. Not coming in your face as yet, but on the sidelines, definitely being conversed about.
Yeah. Amit, as far as regionalization is concerned, You'll have brands, you'll have trying to create maybe an impression in certain markets, communicate more. So are you all going for the, in your previous incarnation at Cisco and now at Polycab, has that been used effectively, you think, in language-wise? Ads are still made in Hindi, they're not made in the language, or are you all regionalizing the advert communication as well, based on the language?
Definitely, I think the regional language does play an important role in creating that impactful content, because I think that's where the local consumers actually start befriending the association with a lot of pride and confidence, and I think that is what we are talking about. Is your end consumer able to relate with that association strongly and very, very organically? So I think even right now when we are putting the content piece out for ISL communication in Kerala, a lot of regional spin is given to the language, to the content, to the visual, and everything in between, so that because of which the content appears that, hey, listen, it's for me. Because it should not appear that, okay, there is somebody out there in the west part of the country trying to, forcefully talk to me. That's not the idea. The idea is to ensure that, can I be your friend? And are you able to, believe in my content piece, which is entertaining, obviously, and it also gives you a good proposition in terms of a product solution, because ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm selling a product to them, right?
So I'm just trying to also ask Vinit this question. AI-driven translations, and how do you like the international guys speaking in Kannada? The international cricketers, how do you like that? Do you like it?
That's definitely not cool, but I think it's the beginning of the AI revolution, and I think we will only evolve on this. AI is going to be a part of our lives, and one can't deny that, right? I think there are some great examples of AI, and there's not so cool examples of AI. I think it's an evolving space, and like I just mentioned that the whole regionalization and geographical alignments on consumer behaviors are going to be reality for our lives. I think AI is going to be as real as it gets. I think we all are using AI in some shape or form already, whether in form of text.
How do you see it helping in selling going forward?
More than selling, I think it's not about selling AI. It's about how are we using.
Not selling AI, using AI to sell sport. Now that's a tough one. You probably haven't thought about it, or maybe you've thought about it.
No, so I'm saying, I'm again saying, it's not about how I'm using AI. How am I using AI to possibly engage my consumers better? To me, sport or no sport is just one genre or a platform. I think AI is it comes on top. Sports is somewhere in part of it, and it's somewhere in the subset. So whether it's GC content or sports content, I think AI will enable us to market and communicate better. That's the way I will put it.
Okay, now I'm going to come to something which is very passionate and dear to me. I played the Tennis Premier League. Other sports, we need to encourage other sports. You need to start putting out data for other sports as well. You need to start, because our performance at the Olympics, apart from Manu Bakar, was, I think, quite pathetic. We need to develop as a sports nation. I hope at the next Olympics we win a lot more medals. For a country of 1.4 billion, the number of medals we won are abysmal. So can each of you all on this platform commit that you will back sport, you'll start providing data to other sport, you'll start pushing other sport as well. You also will start don't look at just an ROI. Screw it, man. ROI will come. Your big impact property will get you ROI. Keep some money aside for, like Sam used to say, go by gut feel, man.
But if you look at this year's Olympics, honestly, to me, I think it was the best Olympics ever from an advertiser standpoint. I think the kind of support this Olympic got on Geo as a platform.
I'm not saying no.
Phenomenal.
But we perform badly. So it doesn't mean we'll perform badly in every sport.
They're two different things, no? See, the conversation is about advertising.
You're not committing. You're escaping that. You have to commit that, each of you.
So, Anil,
yeah.
Thing is that there is an alternate way of looking out at the sport also. So you gave an example of Olympics. I am adding it to it. While Olympics, I agree to that extent if the performance was there, not there. But imagine the other side, there was a Paralympics. How many of us are talking about Paralympics?
I agree.
India,
Point taken.
India
I'm ashamed of myself. Point taken.
So
we did well in Paralympics.
Paralympic we did, and we were one of the only brand who had invested on Paralympics campaign. And
So will you promise to do on other sport?
we are looking out for alternative. We have, like I'm saying, almost double the cost, 100% premium we are paying for cricket inventory. Why do we want to get it? If you are ready to give me an option to reach out to the pan-India, length and breadth of the India,
Or geographical?
any place, I'm saying,
Okay.
let's start talking
Okay,
about
he's
hockey.
committed.
I'm committing. I'm saying, let's start talking about hockey.
Fantastic. Now, from you, Subhayu, you have to start giving data points to other sports. Are you committing?
I like it when people ask me for something like this, which we already do. So
Oh.
CricViz is part of an umbrella company called Ellipse Data.
Yeah,
with
yeah, but not in India.
Football Viz, Tennis Viz. I mean, yeah, we'll start with Tennis Viz maybe.
Oh,
Yeah.
cheers. Vinit. Vada karo.
Like I said, I think this was the best Olympics, and we have tried to support every
Hobbs.
sport that this country has come up with, whether it's a league or a bilateral. And I think we are committed.
Cricket is by league bilateral cricket again.
And no, I'm just saying any emerging sport or cricket, and we are obviously committed to making this this country a sporting country. So it can't happen.
This man should join politics. नहीं commit करेगा मेरा दोस्त. एक और बार.
So we are committed to making this as a sporting nation, come what may. I mean, whether it is from a sporting point of view or from a advertising point of view, I think that's the commitment, right? Yeah.
Amit, you just joined the Polycab, but Polycab was a big advertiser on sport. I think it was the
ICC.
ICC.
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you also committing to encourage other sport, convincing your management?
So I think definitely, I think the bigger reason is here, that it's no more only about cricket. I think we are opening up to the ideas of new formats, new sports as well. And I think the best part is the community is getting built, with the like-minded, quotient coming out beautifully. So I think, there's a lot of possibility.
I learned from him how to speak. I really learned from both of them how to speak. But nonetheless, we are bidding for the Olympics in 2036. Let's make sure that at least some of you have kids. Go and encourage your kids to go and play sport. Make sure that we win a lot more medals going forward. And let's give a round of applause to the sporting panel, which was so good, extremely good in the responses. Thank you very much, Vinit. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Subhayu. Thank you very much, all of you all. I hope it was a good panel and you had a good time.
Thank you.
Sorry for pressing your buttons up, Vinit.
Thank you so much, panel members, for sharing your insights. Thank you, Mr. Wanvari, for moderating the session. May I request all the panel members to come together for a group photo op. And I request everyone to look light into their lenses so that we can capture a memory for a lifetime. And as we thank the panel members, ladies and gentlemen, show our gratitude to them for sharing their insights along with us. Thank you.